more powerful than just being book smart. It can totally change the game for your career, your relationships, everything. We're talking about emotional intelligence, or EQ. But here's the thing, most people get it wrong. And believe it or not, it has this surprisingly dark side. Okay, let's just get this out of the way right now because it's a huge misconception. When I say emotional intelligence, what pops into your head? Is it someone who's just super nice, never makes a wave, always agreeable? Yeah, if that's what you're thinking, get ready because we're about to dive into a really fascinating paradox. I mean, just think about Steve Jobs for a second. The guy was an absolute visionary, right? He inspired this almost fanatical loyalty. But he was also famously difficult, harsh, volatile, you name it. So how does that work? How can someone so abrasive get people to follow him to the ends of the earth? Well, it's because EQ is so much more complex than just being nice.
All right, so if it's not about being pleasant all the time, then what is emotional intelligence really? Let's get right to the core of it.
So the guys who actually came up with the term, researchers Mayer and Salovey, they define it like this. Now, pay attention to the action words here. It's not just about having feelings. It's about monitoring them in yourself and in others, and then, this is the crucial part, using that info to guide what you think and what you do. See? EQ isn't some passive thing. It's a very active kind of intelligence. And we can actually break this down into 4 key pieces. It makes it way easier to understand. First up, you've got self-awareness. That's just knowing what you're feeling as you're feeling it. Simple, right? Then comes self-management. That's about handling those emotions so they don't derail you. Next, we have social awareness. This is about tuning in and figuring out what other people are feeling. And finally, you pull it all together with relationship management, which is using all that awareness to build really strong, effective connections. Okay, so when you get a handle on those 4 things, you unlock this incredible power for good. Seriously. High EQ is like the secret sauce for amazing leadership, great teamwork, real, genuine connection. Let's take a look at what that actually looks like in the real world. So check this out. Google did this massive study. They called it Project Aristotle to figure out what makes a perfect team. And you know what they found? The number one most important thing wasn't talent. It wasn't smarts. It was something called psychological safety. It's that feeling that you can take a risk, speak your mind, or even mess up, and you won't get slammed for it. And guess what? Leaders with high EQ are absolute pros at creating that kind of safe space. So what's their secret? How do they pull it off? Well, it's not rocket science. People with high EQ do these specific things to build influence in a really positive way. They show a real, personal interest in you. They're authentic. What you see is what you get. They build trust step by step. And when they give you a compliment, you know it's sincere. See the difference? This isn't about pulling strings, it's about building bridges. And this stuff works. I mean, it really works. Take the story of Douglas Conant. He became the CEO of Campbell's Soup when the company was in real trouble. And his big strategy? It wasn't some complex financial maneuver. He just focused 100% on building trust. He talked to people, he listened, he showed them he actually cared. And the result? A total remarkable turnaround for the whole company, all from focusing on people. But, and this is a big but, here comes the twist. Every single skill we just talked about, understanding people, connecting with them, getting them fired up, well, all of that can be twisted and used for some pretty dark purposes. Because, yeah, emotional intelligence definitely has a dark side. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The power to do good is also the power to do harm. Think about it. EQ itself isn't good or bad. It's totally neutral. It's just a tool. It's like a hammer. In the right hands, you can build a home. In the wrong hands, you can smash everything to pieces. It all comes down to the person holding it. And history has some truly chilling examples of this. I mean, look at Adolf Hitler. By all accounts, he was a master of social awareness. He could read a room, he knew what people were feeling, but he didn't use that skill to connect and uplift. No, he tapped right into the massive fear and anger simmering in Germany after World War I, and he weaponized those emotions to seize power. And we all know the absolutely devastating results. So let's put these side by side with the positive techniques from before. It's like a mirror image. Instead of building trust, manipulators use fear to control people. Instead of encouraging respect, they stir up anger to distract and unnerve everyone. It's the exact same core skill, understanding emotion, but the goal is totally different. It's about exploiting people, not empowering them. And don't think for a second this is just something from history books. The Wells Fargo scandal is a perfect modern-day example. You had this corporate culture built on intense pressure, on fear, and what happened? It pushed employees into committing massive, widespread fraud. It's a powerful reminder that this kind of emotional manipulation can take root anywhere, even in a huge, respected company. Okay, so we've seen the good and we've seen the pretty ugly side of EQ. That brings us to the most important question, right? How can you build your own EQ and make sure you're using it as a force for good? Well, here's the best part. This is a skill, and like any skill, you can learn it. Let's get into how to do that. First things first, you have to know about something called an emotional hijack. This is a real thing that happens in your brain. You have this little part of your brain called the amygdala. It's like your emotional smoke detector. When it senses a threat, real or imagined, it just takes over. It hijacks your rational brain, and boom, you blurt something out, you send that angry email, you do something you totally regret 5 minutes later. Just recognizing that moment when it's happening, that's the first huge step to getting control. And here's the amazing science that proves you can change. It's called neuroplasticity. It basically means your brain isn't fixed. It can literally rewire itself, create new connections. You just have to do the work. This ties right into what the psychologist Carol Dweck calls a growth mindset, that fundamental belief that you can get better. If you have that, you can absolutely retrain your emotional habits. The key takeaway? You are not stuck with the brain you have today. Okay, so you want a super practical tool you can start using like today? Here it is. It's brilliantly simple. The next time you're in a heated moment and you're about to say something, just stop and ask yourself these 3 questions. This creates a tiny critical pause, and that pause is everything. It's the space between the feeling and the reaction. That's the core of self-management right there. All right, let's talk about the next big piece, handling feedback. Because nobody loves criticism, right? But this metaphor is just perfect. Think about it. When a diamond first comes out of the ground, it's rough, it's sturdy, it doesn't look like much. Criticism can feel exactly like that. But if you're willing to clean it up and look closer, there is almost always something incredibly valuable in there. So the trick is to fight that first gut reaction, that urge to get defensive and argue. Just take a breath. And instead of getting mad, try getting curious. Ask yourself 2 simple questions. Okay, what can I learn here? And how can I use this to actually get better? The moment you start doing that, you flip a switch. Criticism is no longer an attack. It's fuel. It's free data you can use to grow. So where do we go from here? We've unpacked what EQ is, we've looked at its potential for good and for bad, and we've even talked about how you can start building it. But I gotta tell you, the journey doesn't just end. See, this isn't like learning to ride a bike where you learn it once and you're set for life. Developing your EQ is an ongoing journey. It's a practice. It means you're constantly checking in with yourself, reflecting on how you're showing up, and really making sure that what you do is in line with what you truly believe in, with your core values. When you strip everything else away, this is what it's all about. It's about making your emotions work for you instead of against you. Are they running the show? Or are you in the driver's seat, using them as information, as energy to get where you want to go? That right there is the heart of emotional intelligence. So, I'm going to leave you with this one last thought. Every single day, you wake up with this incredibly powerful tool, your emotions. The question isn't if you have them, we all do. The real question is, what are you going to do with them? What will you choose to build?